So if you do not know, many people are switching to zero build in Fortnite. But why? I'm not doing that, but the reason is because it makes the game easier. In the new Fortnite season, there's these vehicle mods like vehicle turrets, vehicle bombs, a cow catcher that can plow through like objects and stuff, and also enemy players. And if you shoot at it, the car doesn't take any damage, and the car's health has been seriously buffed. And now the boost doesn't waste your gas. In the previous seasons, whenever you would boost, it would take a lot off your gas. Now it doesn't. Now it does not. Right? And there's even these stations where you don't even have to get out of your car. It'll refuel your car and repair it. Right? So yeah, right? Building won't do anything against the cars because the cow catcher can just go right through them, right? And also the explosion can destroy most of your buildings, right? And then there's also the new item, right? I do not know the name of it. All I know is that it's actually I'll edit this using CapCut and I'll just like plug it back in once I like research the name. So I think the name is the Nitro Splash. What it basically does is that, from what I know, it increases your sprint, so your sprint lasts longer. It makes you run faster, right? It increases how much you dive, and I think it gives you like fall damage protection. So if you like use it and you jump off somewhere high, you don't die, and it allows you to bash through builds. So if you run, you can like go through builds. From what I know, this allows you to go through wood and brick builds, but not metal builds, right? So yeah, that's mainly the reason why people don't want to be playing regular builds, right? Because first of all, in regular builds, you have 200 health and you can build, right? Right? But the thing is, the vehicles can ram through or shoot through most of your builds, and even if someone doesn't have a vehicle, they can just use the splash and they can just go through most of your buildings, right? Right. So that's why, right? So yeah, and zero build has no building and it has those items, right? But it also gives you 50 extra health. If you play zero build and there's like a little shield, that's basically 50 extra health, right? So yeah, that's why people want to play zero build. Because in regular build, yeah, sure, you can build, but you lose an extra 50 health, right? And you can build, but cars can go through most of your builds, or they can shoot through most of your builds. And the new Nitro Splash can make players break through most of your builds, right? So most people want to play zero build, right? Because there's less sweat, less people, right? Because in regular build, what most people just like to do is that they have like good enough accuracy, right? Where if they're better builder than the other person, right, then they just need to be all right at shooting, and they'll be able to kill them if they're like better, right? But in zero build, you have to aim better. You have to know which weapons are better and stuff like that to actually like versus the opponent. So for regular build, you have to build way more, and your accuracy can just be all right. But if you're way better at building than the other person, then you're probably gonna win, right? But in zero build, it's actually about what type of weapons you have, your accuracy, and whether you should switch weapons out and things like that, right? So what I think is that number one, the new item and car attachments, right? Yeah, sure, you can build in regular build, but the vehicles can shoot through or ram through most of your builds. And even if someone doesn't have a vehicle, they can use the splash effect and just run through most of your builds, right? So building is just like useless at this point because people can just like break through them very easily, right? And with zero build, it's more challenging because so number two, it's more zero build is like more exciting, right? Because it's more about it's about your accuracy. Because with regular builds, you just need to build, and if you're a better builder than the other person you're fighting, then most of the time you're gonna win, right? But with zero build, there's no building; it's just shooting, right? So you need to know which weapons are the best, which weapons to swap out, right? Um, right. And you need to improve your accuracy. Your accuracy needs to be really good, right? You need to have good movement too, right? You need to know how to use your movement too. So yeah. So in summary, the main two reasons on why people are switching to zero builds instead of playing regular builds is because of the new cars. They can ram through most of your buildings, except for the metal ones, or they can shoot through them. And with the new item, you can just use it, and players can go through most of your builds, except for metal ones, right? And since the most common type of material is wood and brick, it's going to be harder to find metal, right? So you'll have to spend more time looking for resources, and you could be ambushed, you can run out of mats, and they could easily kill you, right? And also, people just might find it more exciting because now it's about your accuracy, right? Because in regular build, if someone was a better builder than you, then most of the time they would win. Even if they weren't that good at shooting, if they just built better, then they would beat you most of the time, right? But in zero build, you need to know which weapons are the best, which ones to switch out. You need to actually know how to use your movement to the fullest extent you can, and you need to shoot good and have good accuracy, right? So, yeah, that's why people are going to zero build, right? And my proof for this is, you can look at it. For every single game mode, it tells you how many players are playing, and zero build has 100, 200k more people playing than regular builds. So yeah, which if you play Fortnite, you know never happens, right? But I'm enjoying this new season, right? Now, I do like the cars, but after playing it more, they are a little too OP, right? So they shouldn't nerf them to the ground, right? And they shouldn't make them balanced. Keep them overpowered, but nerf it just a little bit. So it's a little bit. It's a little bit easier to combat the cars. That's it, right? That's it, right? And you know those gloves? They kind of suck if you're not in a small space. Because if you're in a big space and you're using the gloves, you punch and then you have to move and then you have to punch again, right? And I think when you punch, there's a second or two before you have to move and then punch again. So it's a really slow weapon. And it takes 3 or 4 punches. But if you're in an enclosed space, you hit them, it launches them. It's going to be harder for them to hit you, and you can do more damage, right? And it'll be easier for you to hit them in a smaller room or smaller area, right? So my only complaint for this season was it didn't go fully into the desert thing. If the entire map was covered in it, ooh, that would have been cool, right? I get that this is a season, and whenever there's a new season, only parts of the map are changed, or sometimes it's just left untouched. But I really wish that the entire map was just covered in dust, right? and that desert theme was everywhere. So right, so let's take restored reels. It would be the same as it is, but it would have the desert theme. It would have the desert theme, and it would have a couple of the items, right? So it's basically just the rest of the map. You know that the new areas like the Nitro Dome and stuff. It's just that, but the rest of the areas are inspired by that. Not just copy and paste of it and just renamed, or right? It's the same location, but it takes a little bit and it inspires and it gets inspiration from the new parts of the map, right? So yeah, that's also what I would really like to see. And also snipers are gone. I completely forgot to mention that, but yes, snipers are gone, right? Well, at least a real sniper. Right, the Eagle Eye sniper rifle, which is one of the best snipers Fortnite has ever made. Like before the nerf, it was hella OP, and I get why they nerfed it the first time, but then I think they nerfed it a second time, or right. So I either think they nerfed it 2 or 3 times, right, right, and I right. So they released it, they nerfed it again, and they nerfed it again, or they released it and they nerfed it and then they nerfed it, and that's it. But they nerfed it to the ground too much, right? When they nerfed it the first or second time, that's when they should have stopped. But, right? It's like still easy to use the sniper. I use it all the time when it was in the game, whenever I could find it. Because when they nerfed the sniper to the ground, it was super hard to find it. Right? You could only really find it in a legendary chest, and those are very hard to find. Now, and you could only really find it in the bunker, but people would always be camping in there. And also, right, dude, I was in the bunker, and then and somebody realized I was in the bunker, so they just started shooting the little bomb thing for, like, the little bomb attachment for the car into the bunker until I died. Right. Right, which is just like, bro, come on. Like, you're that bad, you won't even come down and face me. You just have to, like, use the car and just shoot, die. Right? Right. But what I think they should do is that maybe I think they should bring back the EMP. Right? Maybe give us an extra inventory slot and that's it. Right? Right? Or have a switchable inventory slot. Right? Where you equip an item, and then if you want to, right, where, like, it'll work like this. You have an inventory slot. Right? And if your inventory slot is full, then one random one, then whichever one you choose in settings will basically be switched. So if you have a medkit, right, and then you pick up a shield, the medkit will still be in your inventory, but you can quickly switch between them. So it's like basically square and medkit. You would switch, and then it would go up into the upper part of the inventory where the medallions usually were, right? And then you would use this, and then you could just press like one button to switch them, or like 2 buttons to switch them. Right? But yeah, I don't think but the EMP blast should, but even if they do bring back the EMPs, nerf them, bro. Right? Like, this season is like chaotic, and if you just bring back the EMPs, nobody's gonna be wanting to use the cars. Right? So yeah, just make the EMPs, just nerf them. Right? So I would say only have it disable the car for like 15 seconds. Right? Right? And also maybe bring back the Anvil rocket launcher, because it was really good at following cars and stuff. Right? So yeah, just bring that back. But yeah, double upload. Yeah, I realize you guys want your slop, so yeah, I'm giving you the slop, but yeah, Dude, oh my goodness. I'm so excited that school is over, bro. Oh my goodness, bro. Like, if you were just watching for like the Fortnite news and you don't want to like hear my yap session, then sure, leave the video. I don't really care. Oh my goodness, bro. In math, we're having a final. It's everything we learned this year. Everything. And we've had like 6 units, right? And then in geography, we're doing a final project. Okay? And then in science, we're having a test, right? And then in English or ELA, we're having a project and an essay, and then and then in art we're having a final project. But there are a couple caveats to this. First of all, for the math one, you can't do test corrections because he has a deadline on when the final test corrections. So basically, this Wednesday is basically the only day that you can do test corrections. After that, you can't do any more test corrections. Right. Um, so yeah, you can't even correct the math, the tech, so you can't even correct all the problems you got wrong and get half credit for each of them, right? And then for science, I mean for geography, the projects we've done in the past are easy, right? And you can maybe correct them, right? For science, she said that yeah, you can do corrections on the test and you'll get full credit for the questions if you like fix them properly. And then for ELA, we're gonna do. You can also like correct your essay and get full credit back. So yeah, I'm just stressing over the math thing because we've done 6 units, or I don't know exactly how many, but I'm just off the top of my head at 6, maybe 4. But dude, you expecting me to remember things from like the beginning of the year, bro? Come on, right? And he's not even giving us that many days to review, right? Like if he gave us, right, like if he gave us like 2 weeks to review and we would just no, if he gave us like if he gave us like 1 entire week to review, I wouldn't be pissed off. If the test was just on the big ideas of the things we learned, so like it wouldn't involve any of like the intricate stuff, or like if like off the top of my head, like let's just take like middle school, right? If this happened in middle school, right, and they were talking, right, and there was a test, the test wouldn't include the negative numbers for less than, greater than, or less than, or greater than, or greater than, or less than. You know those problems with the thing less than or greater than, both a line under it. The rule is that like if it's a negative, you have to like switch the sign. Right? In middle school, if we were doing a final test, it wouldn't have negative for those. It wouldn't have negatives for those problems because that's like a very specific detail about it. Right? He would just be covering the big ideas for each module. Right? But it's going to be 50 questions. 25 of them are going to be about this unit, and 25 the other ones are going to be on the other ones. So it's probably going to have a lot of intricate details that I'm going to need to memorize, which means I'm going to have to cram everything I've learned this entire year into my brain for the test, right? Right, which is going to be difficult, right? So yeah, right. And I'm a little worried about the thing for it, but not that much. Like if it's a super complex project, then yeah, I'm gonna be a little worried. But if it's just something simple, then I don't really care. If it's like, oh, you're gonna have to make a drawing about this and you're gonna have to use shading, yeah, I'm good at shading, so I don't really care, right? So yeah, it's mainly just the math thing, right? I'm almost finished with my ELA project or English project, right? Essays take like a day to do. For me, they take 2 days because it's just like to goof around, right? What ends up happening is that for like, right, the first day, I don't even get it complete, and then the second day, and then once I go home, I work on it for like 20 minutes, and then I work on it for class, and then I work on it for class on the second day, and then I just like present it to her, and she's like, oh, improve this, and I improve it, and that's it. So in total, I would say it takes me like 40 minutes to do an essay if I'm goofing around. So yeah, um, right. I'm not worried about the essay for the final project. I'm almost finished with it. For the ELA, for the geography project, I think it may be easy because the projects we've done in the past are easy. But dude, I always hated group projects in geography, right? Because my friend moved away, and because and in this class I don't know anybody, so I just get right, which means that which means that I always get partnered up with random people, right? I don't know these people, I don't care who they are, so I get partnered up with people who don't even know what they're doing. They're so illiterate, bro. They have a 3rd grade reading level, right? Because he said the project's gonna be graded individually. So if you do yours, so right, if there's like, right, so if there's like, how do I explain? So I'll explain it like this: if there's 8 slides, and then you both tell me, oh yeah, we're gonna do 4 slides each, and there's 2 of you, then you just write down which then you just write down which slides each of you did, and then I'll grade those, right? Right? That's basically the gist of what he said. And I created, and we agreed on what parts to do. We told him, and I did my parts, and he said they looked really good, right? And I got a 35 out of 40, and he said, oh, it's because when you were presenting, your group mates weren't doing that good of a job. Like, how is that my fault? You said it's going to be graded individually, right? It's not my fault they have a 3rd grade reading level and are so illiterate they can't even say the word illiterate, right? Right? So, yeah, right? Not my fault. So, right? And also, the reading level, like, requirement is kind of sad. Like, I think in our school, they say that if you're in 9th grade, you're expected to have a 6th grade reading level. Like, bro, you're a 9th grader, you're a high schooler, and you're telling me that they have to have the reading level of a 6th grader. So right, if you're in 9th grade, then if you don't want to get put into an ELA support class, all you need to have is a 6th grade reading level. So you have to have the reading level of somebody who just graduated from high school. Like, bro, come on, bro. Right, like, I know I might be biased saying this because I have an 11th grade reading level, but dude, 6th graders just came out of elementary school, and you're telling me that a high schooler that has to the high school is bare minimum reading requirements for them not to be put into an intervention for ELA is a reading level of somebody who just graduated from elementary school? Like, bro, right? Come on. Alright, like, that is so stupid, right? Right? Like, half the time when I'm in English class, right, and most of the time when students are called up, they're like, the little bird, like, bro, right? And I do have a friend in there, so, right, and he's like, bro, come on, why do we have to wait for them, right? He's like, he's like, Brody, he's struggling to read a single page, right? And it's not like I'm in an intervention class, because I checked just to make sure. I checked with the office and my ELA teacher. Nope, I'm in a regular English class. The teacher said, oh no, I recommend you take English 2 honors. But I don't want to, because I'm basically in this, right? I can take English 2 honors, but I don't want to do all of that extra work, right? I'll do fine in English 2. I'll probably get I'll do fine in English 2 honors. I'll probably get all A's in English 2 honors, but I don't want to do all that extra work. I don't want work. I don't want to read over the summer. Screw that, bro. Right? Like, bro, I'm in a regular English class, right? And a lot of the kids in there are struggling to read, one singular page, right? Like, bro. Yeah, no, wait, yeah, no, consciousness, yeah. No, the book we were reading said the word consciousness, and the kid was reading, and he was like, and the teacher was like, consciousness. Do you not know how to pronounce consciousness? Do you not know what that word means? And we have this thing called a vocab quiz, where, like, each week, she would give us, like, these words that we had to memorize that were, like, in the book we were reading. And the words were, like, eerie, like, treacherous, eerie, things like that. Like, are you telling me that most kids in high school don't even know what? You're telling me that most ninth graders don't even know what the word eerie means, or treacherous, or alibi? Like eerie, like, oh, something's off, something feels weird. Treacherous, oh, something that's dangerous. Like, oh, the hike is treacherous, it's a dangerous hike, right? I forgot the other word. What was it? Alibi. Like, it's basically what you were doing when something happened. So, like, if there's a murder, an alibi is what you were doing when that murder happened, right? Like, bro, right? And I saw another kid reading score. Dude, he was, right, basically it was this thing where it was a red bar, and it was like urgent intervention. It was yellow, which is like standard, and then green is like above, right? He was just right in between the red and the yellow, right? He was just like a cup, he was just barely on the yellow. So he wouldn't go into intervention. Like, bro, is your reading level that low, right? Right? Like, don't think, like, right? And that's something I don't, right? And also some side tangent. Math class is fucking stupid. How do I say this? It's stupid because we won't use any of the things we learned. Like, in middle school, I don't remember anything we did in middle school, bro. Like, I would just, like, I would remember it until it was summer, and then I would immediately forget. Like, bro, do I really need to know how to figure out the circumference of the circle? Do I really need to know all this? No, I don't, right? Because first of all, right, the excuse in the past was, oh, you need to know this stuff because you're not going to have a calculator in your pocket, but now you do. It's called a phone. Most people have a phone, so they have a calculator in their back pocket. And I think most of the math you need to do in your life, you can find as a calculator, right? Right? So me and my friend did this test where he would solve a math problem on IXL, right? So I would like go to an online problem solver. I would enter it in, and then he would like enter the problem in. We would write down the correct answer, and then he would press enter, right? And then I would press enter on my calculator, and whenever he got the answer right, same answer. Whenever he got it wrong, it showed the correct answer on the calculator, right? Right. So it's not cheating because he already knew how to do it. We were just testing. So, like, bro, math class is stupid because I do have a calculator in my back pocket, and most of the time, no, for most of the math you'll experience in your life outside of school, there's websites that can just do it for you, right? And my friend has a dad, obviously he has a dad, but he needed help with the math problem, and it was triangle sum theorem. I don't remember when this was. I think in middle school, right? And his dad was like, "Oh, I don't know how to do that." And he was like, "Oh, didn't they teach this? Didn't they teach this to you in school?" And he was like, "Yeah, but as soon as school was over, as soon as I was finished with college, I instantly forgot that because I never used it in my life." So even my friend's dad, who's like, yeah, I don't even use that in my life, is right, is like, yeah, no, same thing, right? Right. And I didn't, right? And I have another friend's dad who's a mechanic, right? And he says, no, I don't ever use that. And there's another one who is like a real estate agent, doesn't use them, right? So if you want to be like, if you want to be a construction worker, then yeah, maybe you should know some advanced math. They should teach that to you in college if you're like trying to like get a degree for whatever's needed for construction working, right? Right. So, right. But I'm not going to need to know triangle sum theorem in my regular day-to-day life, right? And then geography. Geography I can understand a little bit, right? If you need to visit someplace, then yeah, it's probably good to know the geography of it. But the thing is economy, right? Because of today's economy, a lot of people don't travel, so why would they even need to know this? And also, if you do need to know your geography, just pull it up on your phone. So I can kind of understand why we need it, but it shouldn't. But it's we don't need it that much, okay, bro? Science, a little bit, right? Like you need to know the science on why plugging like a fork into a socket is not a good idea, right? It's a bad idea. You need to know that, right? But I don't need to know photosynthesis in my day-to-day life. I don't need to know any of that, right? For English, yeah, I could kind of understand it, right? But the thing is, most people don't even speak like that, right? Most people right now talk in slang. They're like, yo, what's up? My Ohio, skibbity, sigma, Ohio, kai, snap. Oh, is that the skibbity, rizzler friend, right? They're like that. And even I say that to my friends, right? So why would I need to know proper punctuation whenever I'm talking about the skibbity rizzler, huh? Exactly. You don't, right? And if you're like, oh, what if you need to go to a job interview and you need to like write something on there or type it? Well, yeah, if you need to write it, you can just like download Grammarly on your phone and just like type it and then it'll correct it and then you can just copy it down, right? But it could be seen as like but the job could see that as like a downside because it's like you really have to pull out your phone and like have to use a tool to know how to spell and punctuate correctly. So I can kind of understand why we need English, but not to the extent of how it's pushed in the education system. Right, and then what was it? After yeah, no PE is required, right? Like all the people I've met that said, oh, PE shouldn't be in school is fat, right? Right. Like all the people I've talked to, like I talk to random strangers. I go to the public, right? And whenever I ask a lot of people, and the and there was only like one person who was skinny that said, "Oh no, we shouldn't push PE into the school system," and they said it's because in high school, it doesn't. It's less about participation and more about how you score. But they should like grade you on participation and effort. They should make that with more instead of like how fast you run and stuff. Which I agree, right? Right, right. But the people who were like, oh no, get rid of PE, the rest of the people who said no, get rid of PE for school was like, we're fat. And they were like, oh no, it's just bad, it's just bad. Like, bro, you're the reason why we need PE, bro. Like, right? So yeah, I do think PE should be nerfed a little. So so instead of your PE grade being mostly like what score you get on the mile or pacer, it should be on like how much effort you put into it, right? So it could be like this. So if you get a bad score, right, if you get like a 4 out of 10 but you're like sweating and you can barely talk afterwards, then you should probably get like a 6 or something, right? And then you can like walk after school and then like for like four and right, and then for like 4 laps you get like 1 extra point added to any assignment you want, right? Right. And if you were like really tired one day and you weren't participating, you could just like play any sport you want after school, right, outside, and the teacher could like watch you and like take and like write down if you're actually trying or not, right? So yeah, it should be graded more on effort and participation. Because if you're participating and you're just like hitting the ball, but you're not putting in any effort in, then your score should go down. But if you're actually right, but if you're putting effort in, but you barely participate, so you barely kick the ball. But whenever you do, you're trying really hard. Then your score should go down. It should be graded on how much you participate and how much effort you put in. So if you put in more effort and you participate as much as you can, then that should be prioritized over what score you get on the miler pacer, right? Or they could prioritize like your effort and participation, and if you're doing something like the mile pacer or those tests or quizzes or whatever, and you're putting the maximum amount of effort and participation, your score will go up because of that, right? And you can even like improve your grade. So yeah, that would be right. So yeah, for art, I only chose art because it was gonna be easy, bro. Like in 6th grade, in 5th grade, we were doing Zoom learning or something. So right when we were doing it, he was like, "Go fill out this form on what elective you want next year." But I didn't want to do all that because that was too much work. So in 6th grade, they just put me in STEM. Oh, I hated STEM, bro. Like we did the Lego thing, but he rushed over it, right? And in the middle of the year, he realized, oh no, I didn't really explain how to like code the Lego devices. It was the Lego device. You'd use a program to code it. It was basically like Scribble or that one like Flash game maker with like the cat or something. I don't know, but yeah, right. He was like, oh, I didn't teach them even how to use it. I didn't even teach them how to use it, so the code is just broken and unoptimized. So I took the last test we did badly on and just didn't put it into our grades, and it was like, your new test is to actually learn how to do this. So yeah, right. But then in 7th grade, I took art, right? Because all I did was this. I would just do the assignment because the assignments were really easy. I would just finish them, right? I would claim to do work from another class, and then I would just take on my phone, right? Right? I would say, oh no, since this is the last, right? I need to do homework when I get home, and just in case I don't finish it, I need to charge my Chromebook because I don't want to wait and to charge my Chromebook and then forget. She would be like, okay, go sit at the back of the class, right? I would put my backpack up, right? Right, and then I would just use my phone. And my friend would sit next to me, also charging his Chromebook, and he would keep an eye out. He would be using his phone, and then he would just like also keep an eye out like this. So like he would be using his phone, but he could also see like what was happening around in the class. And if the teacher was coming by, he would hit my arm, and then I would quickly like drop it into my backpack. Right. So yeah, that was super, right? So I was like, oh no, it's probably gonna be the same, but no, right? Right. Once you did the assignment, she would just give you busy work. She even had a file named busy work that was just full of stuff we would do once we were completed. We weren't allowed to use our phone, right? And basically, this one time, what ended up happening was that she was having an asthma attack, and substitutes came, and the principal was there, and people were yelling, "I'm horny!" They were yelling the N-word. They were throwing pencils and stuff, right? They were like trying to like make fights and stuff. Right, a kid was like, "Oh, he's about to crash out on me," which I just don't like the term crash out, but yeah, right, right, so, right, and because of that, as a punishment, we moved to a classroom where it was much harder to get away with those things, but she got suspended. So what ended up happening is that this is just a rumor, but I know the kid who got the tattoo, and he said that he did get a tattoo, and she like helped him do it. According to him, she told him where to plug the device in, And she was like, oh yeah, good job, that's a very good job you're doing, while he was doing the tattoo mid-class, right? And then and then I think they caught it on the security cameras, which I don't know how, because there's no cameras nearby, right? Right, 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 or somebody snitched and then she got suspended. She didn't get expelled because I had some questions about the assignment we were doing, so he gave me the instructions he got, and it said thanks for subbing for my art class. So I thought she got suspended, but then I was talking to this near my science teacher, and she's like, oh no, teachers can't get suspended like that. She's like, no, teachers don't get suspended. So I think she's on an indefinite hiatus, right? Or she's taking a vacation, right? But yeah, so yeah, right? So yeah, thanks for listening to my yap session.